Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the annual community grant announcement with a partnership between the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department and the Jacksonville Jaguars Foundation. Let me say at the outset, before I welcome everybody, that there is no other NFL franchise in sports that does more in terms of dollar and deed for veterans than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I would like to give them a round of applause. On Mayor Curry's administration, in the last 2.5 years, we have been able, these individuals over here to my left, have been able to serve 24,732 area veterans, and we have gotten them over $80 million in new money from the VA.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mark, for everything that Jaguars does for the military community and their families. From the highest ranking members of the military that are here with us today, that are watching, to the boots on the ground and to their families, sincere, deep gratitude from your city, all of your city. Many of you have heard me say before that I come from a military family. I ended up in Jacksonville, was born in Key West, ended up here because of the Navy. My father was in the Navy. His father was on the USS Oklahoma in Pearl Harbor when it was attacked and lived to tell the story. My mom's father served in the Army, and so, I got to hear their stories when they finally opened up when I was in my teenage years, and got to hear directly how the impact that service has on veterans and their families. So please know that while I haven't experienced it personally, my family has. I've heard it, and we're grateful for you. Jacksonville at its core is a military city with Naval Station Mayport, Naval Air Station Jacksonville, the Florida Air National Guard, the Coast Guard. The Armed Forces are a key part of who we are. Every year in November, we pause as a country on Veterans Day to honor the service and sacrifice of those who represent the best of our nation. And I would argue we do it best here in Jacksonville on Veterans Day. Here in Jacksonville, we take it a step further and extend the commemoration for a full week, which is the Week of Valor. This year is no different. From November 3rd through the 14th, the Military Affairs and Veterans Department and our community partners will host daily educational, patriotic, and community activities to demonstrate our city's deep appreciation and respect for the men and women in our armed forces. There are so many events that will happen that weekend. You can get them on the city's website. In addition to these events, our city conducts services throughout the year to benefit veterans, jobs fairs, legal and career counseling, access to VA benefits, tax preparation services, and so much more. You'll also see our military affairs van in communities performing important outreach services. This van was funded by the Jaguars, which has given more than $800,000 to veteran services organizations in our community. Today, the Jaguars are here to announce the recipients of this year's grants, further demonstrating their commitment to service members on the First Coast.
On behalf of Shad and the entire Jaguars organization, it's great to be here. This is one of our best days of the year. Over the past 4 years, through the partnership with the city, we've been able to serve thousands of active military and veterans and their families. We're so proud that so many veterans choose to make Northeast Florida their home, and that the center provides comprehensive support needed to help make that transition. We'll be announcing some grants in a moment. It's a part of what our annual commitment to the city is. Shad agreed to donate $1 million 4 years ago, and it's great to see that money not only helping in the 4 or 5 checks that you write a day to veterans in need, but to these great not-for-profit organizations which serve this community so well. So without any further ado, let me acknowledge the following organizations, and if you'd like to stand, that would be wonderful. The first recipient, Community Hospice and Palliative Care. They do a lot of great things. Flags and appreciation pins for military service are presented to the approximately 1,500 veterans annually on the First Coast that are in hospice care to honor their military service. A 5-star Veterans Center. Support for mental health services for veterans while staying at 5-star Veterans Center residence. If you haven't been there, go by there. They do miraculous things there. The Florida National Guard Foundation, emergency financial assistance for guardsmen. This check was actually expedited and presented in September to AIDS guardsmen and their families with hurricane relief support. Canines for Warriors, support for the construction of an enclosed training facility to minimize the delays in training due to inclement weather, for military and veterans in training with their canines for Warriors service dogs. Northeast Florida Women's Veterans Incorporated. Comprehensive services for female veterans, which include employment workshops, counseling, and emergency services. And finally, Operation New Uniform. Scholarships awarded to new cohort participants in Operation New Uniform's Career Readiness Program, helping veterans transition to civilian employment. Again, I want to thank Mayor Curry, Bill Spann, and your entire staff, but most importantly, those that serve and have served in the past. Thank you very much.